Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get it started.
All right, Kay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody to our October 19th City Council meeting. We're sorry for the little delay here. We had a little trouble getting our live streaming going, but I think everything's up and running at this time. So we appreciate everybody's patience. We'll call the meeting to order, and I will ask the clerk to please take roll. Okay.
I don't have host. Will you please check that again, Scott?
It says host on the screen that you are in.
Okay, it's not giving me the panelists. So anyway, I'll go ahead and call roll. It's County.
Here.
Boson.
Here.
Voss.
Yes, here.
Gray.
Here.
Westergaard.
Here.
Mandelbaum.
Here.
Gatto.
Here.
Your Honor, we have a quorum.
All right, before we approve the agenda, I just quickly want to say that City Council has several venues to address and discuss issues that are important to the residents of the city of Des Moines, and more informal, highly detailed, but still effective settings include council informational work sessions and stakeholder meetings. Amending the procedural rules would ensure that the items on the council's agenda are significant and appropriate. We have to run the business of the city, and that's our responsibility. These items are fully vetted and are not those better suited for more informal, highly detailed settings. Ensuring that the items on our council agenda are appropriate for the council agenda and not a different venue will lead to more orderly and efficient council meetings moving forward, and enhanced communications and reduced redundancy and in excess conversation or input. So we want to thank you all. Item 2 is I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda as presented and or as amended. And we'll say that item 4I was added by Councilmember Gatto. Item 18 was withdrawn. The item hasn't received Urban and Design Review Board comment. And the regular agenda items, 48B was added, final consideration. Could we have
Mayor,
a motion, please?
Mayor, did you say item 18?
Yep.
Okay. I'll move the rest of the agenda.
Sorry, I'm a little unclear. Are we skipping that item 1?
Item I.
Item I?
Oh, you need to vote on.
Okay, well,
We can go back to it, Frank.
we need to vote on aye.
At this point, Your Honor, you can have the agenda approved and then go back to item I after the agenda has been approved.
Okay. And, but we read item I, right? Is there more to it that you would like to add?
I would like to have some discussion on item I.
Okay, let's go ahead and cancel the motion on the agenda. Let's go back to item I. Go ahead. Councilmember Boson.
I would like for us to consider, I know this was put on, and I'm all for making procedural, looking at how our procedure is working. But I would like to maybe add that we look at other entities, we review what we have on today, but I would propose something similar to what supervisors, I believe, do, is that you have the right to put something on the agenda before their chair. And if it is not approved, then that supervisor would have the opportunity to put it on the following agenda. So I would propose that we have, if you want to put something on the agenda, you would give it to the mayor and mayor pro tem. And then if that was turned down, then you would have that opportunity then to put it on the next agenda. The other thing I would also like to add is that at every meeting we have a request for information item, so that if we have any reports that we want or any information, if it's something that is something simple to do, easy to do, that we then get that information. But if it's going to be a long process or a long report that would take staff time, that the majority of the council should decide. That's just something that I'm familiar with. So I would like to throw that out, and so that we would still have a lot more transparency on everything. And I think it would be a way to have a good process.
All right, thank you. Let me also, we've got a couple of rules. Rule 11 is an agenda deadline. Any member of the council, the city manager, corporate counsel, city clerk may have an item included on the agenda by requesting that the city clerk to include the item by 5 p.m. on the Wednesday preceding the council meeting. If the item is requested by a council member, it shall be approved by the mayor and the mayor pro tem prior to the inclusion on the agenda. If either the mayor, the mayor pro tem, or the requesting council member approval by the other for inclusion on the agenda, it shall be sufficient for the purposes of this rule. Rule 12 is an extra item. Items requested or filed after 5 p.m. on the Wednesday preceding the council meeting shall not be included on the agenda unless a council member shall deem the item of sufficient urgency to warrant an immediate council action. These items shall be designated as extra items and will be considered at the appropriate place on the agenda prior to or after a related item or at the end of a regular agenda. The requirement of the Rule 11 shall also apply to the extra item requests. The city clerk shall record on the item the name of the sponsoring council member. So wanted to make sure that everybody understands that in terms of those procedural rules, those are the updated rules regarding the agenda deadline and an extra item.
So I guess
Mayor,
I was just going to say, so in light of all, if we would make some changes or whatever, if we could take that into consideration and then come back with, if people would be in agreement to the changes I made, and then bring it back for the next meeting.
So is that a motion, Connie, to, in terms of the amending of the procedural rules, that we will review and bring it back at the next meeting?
Yes.
Mayor, can I just add one thing? And I appreciate my colleagues coming up with these procedural rules, and we've had discussions as you. If something isn't able to be put on the agenda and it goes to the next agenda, as we've talked about, I think it would be important that that also gets voted on, that 3 other council members would like it to be on the council agenda. I'd like that to be hopefully part of the motion, that would be part of it. Just a friendly, just something that we could put on there.
Yeah.
Connie, I would look to you, see if you would add that to your motion.
Yeah, I would add that. I just think that by having that information out, it adds greater transparency.
Okay, so the motion is to continue this item, and with added input, Councilmember Bozen's thoughts and Councilmember Gatto's, and we'll bring it back for a vote on the procedural rules at the next council meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or if we can just make these changes right now, we can just vote on it. Do we need to have something different, or can we just vote on it right now with these changes and not bring it back?
We ought to review it and bring it back. I think Connie is absolutely right on that.
Okay,
And I think we ought to have Jeff put it in writing,
excellent.
add it to his list of items to do. All right, poll the council on the motion, please.
County,
Yes.
Boson,
Yes.
Boss,
Unmute myself here quick, just a moment.
Yeah, you're good. You're unmuted.
you're unmuted.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Westergaard,
Yes.
Mandelbaum,
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carries.
All right, let's move to item 2, which again is approving the agenda as presented and or amended with the consent item adjustments as was earlier stated, and the regular item 48B, which was added for a final consideration.
Move.
It's been moved. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposition? Hearing none, the item passes. Item 3 is approving the consent agenda tonight. Those are items 3 through 42. These are generally routine items and are enacted by one roll call vote without separate discussion unless someone, council or public requests an item to be removed, to be considered separately. And then if someone asks, the council would vote if we want to pull that for further discussion.
Is there a list of, I know I abstained from one of these. And I mean, if we have that list, I can move everything else. And if no one wants to talk about anything.
I can move it too.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Item 16 on the consent, Councilmember Gatto is going to abstain.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll move the approving of the consent agenda.
All right. I will say that it looks, and I think we can see it, there's a number of folks on that would like to remove, it looks like, some items. If we are comfortable with taking those routine items, which are general business for the city, to generally do on one roll call vote. If the council is good with that, we'll move ahead. Otherwise, we can open it up and find out which items these folks want to pull, and then decide whether we want to pull them. Is everybody good with that?
Your Honor, they need to just request one item, correct?
Yeah, they can request, and then we need to keep them listed, and then the council will vote whether or not we're going to have further discussion on these items. So let's go ahead and ask, looks like Indira, you got your hand up. You have an item you want to pull?
Hello. I would like to pull 23I and 33. I'm confused about the $1 million that we're getting from Homeland Security. And I also think that we should be talking about the about $10,000 that we're doing in police settlement. So 23I and 33 are the items I would like to pull.
Some hot apple cider. Yeah. Some Fireball Mag.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to take them all at once, Mayor, and then we're going to vote to see if we're going to pull them.
Patton? Baden? Shoemaker?
Hello?
Yeah, Baden?
Hi, yeah, I would like to remove 23I. Yeah, I'm confused about the almost the $10,000 in police settlements that we're giving out, and also item 33 because I'm a little bit confused about the need to find weapons of mass destruction in Des Moines. So those are the items I'd like removed.
Okay, everyone, as I allow you to talk, you can only request one item.
Okay, Adam Callahan? Or Callahan? Adam?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Thank you for letting me speak. If I can only ask one to be removed, I will go with item 33. I think $1 million is a lot of money for the city, so I think we should discuss and get more information around it. And also, especially because it's dealing with weapons, which is something that I also think on its own should be discussed. So I think 33 is important to remove from the consent agenda.
Okay, we need to take those hands down after we've heard from them. So the first three, Jalen?
Hello, happy Monday to the Des Moines City Council. I would like to request that item 23I be taken off of the consent agenda. The $10,000 settlements that are being paid out, specifically the $4,000 settlement that's being paid out to someone because they were attacked by a Des Moines police dog. Would love to get that pulled off the consent agenda. Thank you.
Haile? Haile Boldridge? Folks, we have
Charlie.
23I and 33. Haile, is there something different?
Hi, it's Harley Boldridge, and yeah, I was going to express confusion as well about item 33 and why we need to actually have a discussion about that. I also do have concerns
that was
about
already
weapons.
been asked for further discussion, so thank you, appreciate it. Chelsea?
Hi. Hello, this is Chelsea Chisholm Vargas, pronouns she, her. I heard Kay mention that we can only request one, so I'm unsure if we're going to do another round of approving consent agendas and pooling these items. So if we're not, I would still like to push for removing 23I and 33 as well. We don't need weapons of mass destruction in this.
Okay, we've had that. Both those have been asked. Thank you, Chelsea. Carter White, anything different than 23I or 33?
No, nothing different, but I would like to see 23I and 33 removed. Thank you.
If you're asking for the same items, please lower your hands.
Okay, Kevin? Kevin, do you have an item that you'd like to have pulled? Okay, Vanessa? Vanessa?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say that you stated that that the council is going to be voting on whether or not you're going to pull these items after we speak. So you should be allowing everyone to speak. And I'd like you to stop being frustrated with the people who are trying to speak, because even though we are asking for the same items to be pulled, everyone wants a chance to speak and be heard here. So you're being incredibly rude with your tone. But I would also like to have 23I and 33 pulled. Thank you.
Ava? Can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Yep, I'm here. Ava, she, her from Des Moines. I also would like to see 23I and 33 removed. And also just want to reiterate what Vanessa said, that you need to know how many people on the call are requesting for this and support you guys removing those items before you vote.
Colo? Lillian?
Hi, yes, I would like to pull items 23I and 33 because I'm very concerned about the implications of calling increased money for the police, a partnership with DHS, and taxpayer money going to pay for police negligence and mistakes uncontroversial. I think those are very controversial issues and something that should be discussed.
All right, Lillian? No. Miranda? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I want to go ahead and reiterate the fact that you do need to be having a more patient tone with your constituents, especially because we have a right to be heard in our city council meetings. And then I would also like to go ahead and move to remove item 23I and 33 as well.
Matthew, can you unmute yourself?
Hi, yes, this is Matt Heron, Des Moines. He, him. Nonetheless, I do believe that you should remove item 33, as it would be irresponsible use of funds for a threat that is not a priority in Des Moines. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say, we don't have that threat here currently, and to use that much money is unconstitutional as well as irresponsible. Thank you.
Emily? Can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Yeah, Emily McGuire, Des Moines, she, hers. I would also like to remove 23I and 33 for reasons that have been previously stated by others.
All right. Leah? Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, it's Leah. I would also like 23I and 33 removed as reasons previously stated. Thank you.
Haley?
Hi, Haley Zaven. I would also like to have 23I and 33 removed for reasons previously stated.
Colo? Colo?
Hello.
Yep, go ahead.
Yes, I would like 23I and 33I removed as well, and your tone changed. Thank you. It's very
Lillian?
She already spoke.
Okay. Serare? Heron?
Yes, I just got on this call, and I would like to have number 33 removed as well, as we don't need mass destructions in our city. Thank you.
All right.
Mayor, just a point of clarification. I see everyone's spoken. Aren't we accepting a grant from the federal government so we have the ability to have training so we don't have weapons of mass destruction? I mean, we're not maybe there's some confusion, or maybe I'm confused, I guess.
No, I'm going to ask Scott and any other staff to quickly go over what that item is, especially on 33. And then we can talk about that one. Scott?
Yes, this is Scott's city manager, and there is, for the public online, there is a council communication that explains further the grant funds for item 33 that the city is receiving from the federal government. The city of Des Moines acts as the grant coordinator for the funds that get dispersed to all the teams across the state. So this is in response to the potential for a disastrous event, potentially including something in a massive situation. But anyway, so the city of Des Moines serves as the grant coordinator. I'm reading off the blue letter, and the financial manager at the request of the state of Iowa's Homeland Security and Emergency Management Department. So the funds pass through the city of Des Moines to get equipment, monitoring, and preparation and training for the for the potential for a mass destructive event.
And I would add to that, Scott, that our hope is that it never happens in Iowa, but then we've seen some strange things happen across this country and across the world, and I think the preparation is wise and the training is wise to be able to respond. And I would open up council. Any thoughts?
Well, I would agree with you, Mayor. I mean, this is an important training. We obviously want to be prepared for anything that could happen. I mean, obviously, we never thought that we would be in a pandemic right now. So we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We need to be able to have training. This isn't coming out of our general fund. This is a grant from the federal government. I think this is something that all of our citizens should be applauding, that we are getting grant money for better training of our officers and being able to be willing to react to some type of emergency to keep all of our citizens safe. Maybe folks are concerned, but I mean, I don't understand why we would be concerned about receiving a grant from the federal government for additional training. And that's all this is. I would move. Are we moving the entire agenda? I mean, I think I moved it already.
Yes, I think we've got input from our citizenry regarding that particular item. The other item, the 23I, is a communication from the legal department about small settlements that were made, an ambulance backing into something, or some payments that were made to satisfy business and residents for damage that occurred, generally speaking, that are settled by the city attorney and did not exceed $5,000 on that 23I. Anybody have any questions or thoughts on that one, council?
This is Westergaard. I say we just move all the items.
I will say I asked some questions because I wanted to understand item 33 better, and it helped me, and I think we can share that with the general public, and that might answer some of their questions as well.
We can post, Mayor, the responses to the questions from council earlier in the day.
Okay.
It includes the equipment from purchasing from 33 as well.
Yeah, I reiterated most of the questions that were asked and the answers that we've got. But that would be helpful if you can post it for the public to see it. I think that's a great idea.
Okay. So the motion is to post the answers, which I think Scott gave a good quick description of 33, and I think we can go ahead and take a motion on the balance.
Yeah, I made the motion already, Your Honor. We just need to vote.
All right.
We have a motion by Boson to approve the consent agenda that we've never taken.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
I thought I had already done
she
it.
did it.
All right. And we actually then went ahead and discussed quickly the 23I and the 33 and got some input on concern of some of the citizens. So I appreciate citizens doing that, and we will post up some of the detail that would hopefully be helpful for you folks. We have a motion. Would you poll the council, please?
County.
Yes.
Boson.
Yes.
Boss.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Westergaard.
Yes.
Mandelbaum.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carried.
Okey doke. It is 5:15. We, I believe, need to move to the council agenda for the hearing items. I again want to be clear that as a reminder, under the new council rules, for the new first reading ordinances of general applicability with a new penalty, we will take a brief public comment germane to the ordinance, not to exceed 15 minutes at no more than 2 minutes per speaker. For corrective ordinances that are not entirely new ordinances, but only correct a scrivener's error or match the ordinance with field conditions, we don't take generally public comments on those corrections. For the hearings, the timing, duration, and length of taking germane comment will vary depending on the type of action before the council. For those items where public comment is not taken or to convey information generally to the council or the city manager, Des Moines residents are encouraged to submit any letters or comments or emails with additional comments or information to ensure that they're sharing their thoughts and information and get those to the city website or to the city clerk's office. And I'll go over the items tonight. We've got a number of speakers on the public speaking items on 47, but we're going to move right now into the hearing items. And for the hearings this evening, we have 3 zoning items. Just to be clear again, those are items 48, 49, and 50. Those are on vacation hearings. And then there are some other hearing items. So we understand that at some of the meetings, there's been some confusion about when the public may raise their hand on the Zoom calls. So we're going to remind everybody the rules again for this meeting this evening. So for the zoning items only, and again, that's 48, 49, and 50, we will hear from the parties in interest and then the general public. So the parties in interest include only the applicant for the rezoning and those persons living within 250 feet of the property to be rezoned to whom the city has sent those notices. After all the parties of interest have commented, we will open it up to any member of the public for germane comments. To aid the city clerk in calling on the parties in interest, I will ask that everyone else to not raise their hand on the Zoom call unless they are that zoning applicant or live within that 250 feet and have received a mailing notice of the rezoning. anyone who raises their hand before it is their time will be compared to the mailed-in list. And if not on that list, you'll be considered disruptive and will not be recognized for the remainder of the meeting. So please wait until I call on the general public for the zoning items. Again, 48, 49, and 50, or you will not be called on for the remainder of the meeting. For those members of the general public who wait to raise their hands, they will be called on for up to 15 minutes of total germane comments to that public comment period, and at 2 minutes per person. Again, those items 48, 49, and 50. Now, so the other items that are not zoning items, which are items 51 through 55, the public may raise their hand immediately upon my reading the item for comment that are germane to that item only. So we, again, keep your comments germane to the item that's at hand. For the vacation hearing, it's designed to allow the public to comment concerning the discontinuance of the use of city property and conveyance of property interests. As the city is the property owner, the city's representative will have an opportunity to speak for up to 5 minutes concerning the topic, and the public will be called on for up to 10 minutes of germane public comments and to not exceed 2 minutes per person. For that budget amendment hearing, any resident or taxpayer of the city can comment on the proposed amendment. This item will be limited to 30 minutes at no more than 2 minutes per person for those germane comments to the budget hearing. For the copier lease hearing, any resident or property owner of the city can comment. This item will be limited to 15 minutes at no more than 2 minutes per person for, again, germane comments. For the construction hearings, any interested person, again, may appear and file objections to be proposed plans, to those proposed plans, specifications, contract, or estimated costs of the public improvements, and those will be the only comments that will be considered germane. Those hearings on those will be limited to 15 minutes of total germane comment at not to exceed 2 minutes per person. So with those, let's go ahead and move in to the hearing items. And that first hearing item, again, is item 48, and that is a zoning item. So item 48 will open the hearings at 5:21. It's on request for Mundo Pequento LLC owner to amend Plan DSM future land use designation and to rezone 1922 Southwest 1st Street from NX2 Neighborhood Mixed District to RX1 Mixed Use District to allow the expansion of the existing non-conforming daycare use. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by Alan Van Gundy, who's the architect for this project, and it will require 6 votes. I'll open it up and ask the council, do you have any questions regarding this property at 1922 Southwest 1st Street? Seeing none, let's go ahead and open up to Alan Van Gundy. Alan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Appreciate the opportunity this evening. I'll keep my comments very brief on this. It's a pretty straightforward rezoning. I was approached by the owner of this property to assist with some, basically some site planning issues. They wanted to update their parking lot and also make some enhancements to the building facade, change some doors and some windows. During the pre-application process with the city, it was identified that the daycare use is not a legal use within the NX2 zoning district. And we were requested to go ahead and rezone the property primarily to legitimize the use. So that's basically the result for the request to RX1. Everything else I think will be handled during the site plan review process. So happy to answer any questions.
Okay, anybody have anything? Joe?
Mr. Mayor, if I'm not mistaken, I think this has been a daycare for, as long as I can remember, unless I'm thinking of a different address. Has it not been a daycare?
I'm not aware that it, of any.
This is the one across the street from St. Anthony's, right, Josh?
Yeah, Mike Ludwig, do you have any answer on this? Mike, can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Yes, Mayor, County, members of the council, Michael Ludwig, Deputy Director of Development Services for the City of Des Moines. Yes, this is an existing daycare use. It's an existing non-conforming use under the zoning, so they're rezoning to expand the facility. Thank you.
But Mike, it's been a daycare for 50 years. It was a daycare when I went to school at St. Anthony's. So now it's non-conforming because we changed the map?
Yep. They're rezoning from an NX2 district to an RX1 district.
I understand, but when we did the map, we didn't correctly do it, and because it's always been a daycare.
Again, this would correct any error that was on the map.
Okay.
All right. Anybody have anything else?
No, I'm happy to move item 48A and B.
Okie doke. Item 48A and B have been moved. I'll ask the clerk to poll the council, please.
County?
Yes.
Boson?
Yes.
Boss?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Westergaard?
Yes.
Mandelbaum?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes. Motion carries.
I see Chelsea Chisholm Vargas's hand up. Let's get her comment, please. Chelsea, did you want to make a comment? Can you unmute? There you go.
Yes, thank you so much, Mayor County, for acknowledging my hand was raised.
Chelsea, can you get a little closer to the mic or something?
Yep.
We can barely hear you.
Y'all folks forgot to take public comment on that last one. So I don't know if there's multiple people that wanted to say something. I did just want to say that has always been a daycare. I went to daycare there. It's a great location for a daycare, as it's been one for at least 30 years or so. Across the street is St. Anthony's, so some of those students also then feed into St. Anthony's. So yeah, I'm glad that it's getting changed, since it seems like it was a mistake in city planning that it wasn't in the proper zoning for this time around. So thanks for changing that, and please make sure to take public comments before.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Chelsea. Let's move on to item 49. Item 49 is on a request from Brown Dog Realty LLC as the owner to amend Plan DSM future land use designation and to rezone 2110 Wakanda View Drive from MX2 mixed use district to a limited I1 industrial district to allow the expansion of an existing plumbing and mechanical shop for site improvements. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above, and we'll again ask council any comments from council. Seeing none, any interested parties who have received notice of this rezoning? Parties of interest? All right, seeing none, is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on this item regarding a expansion of an existing plumbing and mechanical shop? Seeing none?
Seeing none, Mr. Mayor, I'll move 49A, and I'll move to waive the second and third reading.
All right. Poll the council, please.
County,
Yes.
Boson,
I heard you.
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Westergaard,
Yes.
Mandelbaum,
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carries.
All right, item 50, which is on request from Plymouth Church of Des Moines, who's the owner, for review and approval of proposed Fourth Amendment to the Plymouth Congregational Church PUD conceptual plan for property located in the vicinity of 4126 Ingersoll Avenue to allow for roof-mounted solar panels on the church building. Let's go ahead and council, any comments on this?
Mr. Mayor, I think this is a good project. I'm glad to see that Plymouth Church is making this step towards sustainability. One of the things that I think this highlights is perhaps a need for some changes to the zoning code to remove barriers like this. I think for roof-mounted systems in PUDs, we currently require a PUD to come back for any site plan change. And I think we could maybe streamline this for other PUDs around the city going forward. And I've mentioned that to staff already, but wanted to just reiterate that publicly so that we hopefully streamline this and make it easier so folks maybe don't have to come to us just to approve a roof-mounted solar project in the future.
That'd probably go for a residential property too, don't you think, Josh?
Yeah, I don't think a residential does. I think this only applies because of to grandfathered PUDs because of the site plan approval piece of that. But yes, I think if there are other barriers, I would certainly like to see barriers for any zoning barriers related to solar projects addressed.
All right. Anybody? Yep.
Yeah, interested parties.
Yep. Any other interested parties? We'll open it up. Anyone who's received notice? It looks like Jack Porter. Jack, I think you're a member of the church, so let's open it up for Jack. Jack, can you unmute yourself?
There it is.
There you go.
Mayor and members of the City Council, Jack Porter, 815 18th Street, Des Moines. I'm only in the capacity of advising. I am a member of the church. I'm on the House and Space Committee. The design has been vetted by the State Historic Preservation Office and have approved it. It's also been reviewed by the Preservation Commission, I believe. I'm not quite sure on that, but this is because of the PUD. And we would ask kindly, I'm not in an official capacity, just an interested church member, if there's no objection to waive the 3 readings, please. And thanks.
All right. Seeing no other parties of interest, let's see if there's anyone in the general public that would like to make a quick comment here. All right, Chelsea, you're up. Can you unmute? There you go.
Thank you. Yes, Chelsea Chisholm Vargas, pronoun she, her. I support Plymouth Church doing this effort, especially with solar panels. It seems like they're a progressive, forward-thinking organization. I believe in 2018, they had a Black Lives Matter sign on their church, which Sergeant Paul Parisic said was divisive and said all lives matter. So I just want to support this church's efforts as they move forward in our thinking of the environment and sustainability. Thank you.
All right. It looks like we got a quick staff comment. Mike, do you want to jump in here? Mike Ludwig.
Mayor, County, members of the City Council, Michael Ludwig, Deputy Director of Development Services for the City of Des Moines. There's no need to have a second and third reading. This is not a rezoning. It's just an amendment of the final development plan. So it's a single action tonight on this final development plan.
All right, good. Thanks, Mike. Jalen, you're up. Can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Hello. Yeah, I had to wait for Kay to do it. But hello, Jalen, he, him. Thank you for allowing me to speak on this item. I just want to say that I think that it's awesome that they're looking at trying to put these solar panels on the roof. I think this is something that the city should be trying to promote more widely to, other businesses and organizations and homeowners even around the city to try to get some more sustainability and environmentally focused new development in the city. I also want to uplift the fact that they did have a Black Lives Matter banner, and Paul Parisic did say that it should read all lives matter, which we know is offensive and some would call racist. So just wanted to uplift that.
All right. We'd ask again and remind everybody, keep the comments germane to the issue. Indira. Unmute yourself if you can.
Hi, okay. So I wanted to be in support of this. I think that moving towards energy efficiency, not relying on fossil fuels, is very good. If we can encourage any local businesses, institutions, organizations, churches, and residents to be doing things like that, I want to stand in support of that. I agree with what Councilmember Mandelbaum said. I would like to remove the zoning barrier on things like this, since we all know that this is going to be beneficial for our community. We don't make it harder for anybody to go through those hoops. So I would hope that all the council members, especially ones that represent me and my neighborhood, would take note of this and start working on drafting up legislation to change Iowa code or Des Moines code to make this a little bit easier to go through and use this kind of as a step in the commitment towards clean energy, as well as letting businesses and residents who have solar panels keep that energy and either for generators and emergencies like the derecho, or to go back in the community and get a break on the energy bills for that. So I would like you guys to consider all of those things, and I am speaking in support of this. Thank you.
Okay, Peyton.
Hello?
Yep, you're on.
Hi. I just wanted to also say that I am very much in support of this. It sounds like a really great church putting a Black Lives Matter sign outside. And I also agree with Councilman Mandelbaum that that definitely something needs to be done about this zoning issue. Businesses or churches or anyone who wants to put up solar panels to, help the environment, really is what that's doing, shouldn't have to jump through these hoops with zoning and having to work with the city, which we all know can be very frustrating, in order to put up these solar panels that really is just beneficial for everyone. So I think that it would be, as Indira said, a really good idea to start drafting some legislation so that it's a lot easier for us to be energy efficient, so that when we do, if we do become 100% energy efficient or carbon neutral or whatever, that it's a lot easier for everyone to get to that. So that's what I have to say. I'm very much in support of this, and yeah, thank you.
All right, Miranda. Can you unmute yourself?
So sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I want to go ahead and just speak in support of this. I apologize for the slow unmuting. I'm actually at work at the moment. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and speak in support of this. And I think that not only should we remove the barriers for zoning, zoning barriers for providing clean, sustainable energy, I think that we should also be rewarding, the people in our community for moving towards this, especially since Iowa has been impacted by climate change so severely as of late, talking about the derecho, as you mentioned earlier, which we need to be prepared for.
Right, Lillian. There you go.
Hi, Lily Nellens here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. So yeah, I wanted to speak in support of this because I think this is a great initiative and a great church. And I wanted to echo the comments that the speakers have made previously and that Councilmember Mandelbaum made, that the zoning regulations, both commercial and residential, should be changed so that this is something really easy and with as little bureaucracy as possible for people to do. And I also think that it would be great, since there's clearly a lot of concern both on the council and in the community about increasing the climate friendliness and sustainability in Des Moines, to have some sort of city council initiative to maybe provide subsidies for people, particularly people in low-income neighborhoods that might want to put solar panels on their homes or on their businesses. And if there's worries about where you could find the money to create a subsidy program like that, I could highly advocate from taking it from the Des Moines Police Department.
Arlene? Can you unmute? There you go.
Hi. Yep. Sorry, none of us can unmute ourselves. We have to wait to be unmuted. So forgive us in advance for that. Yeah. So I just also wanted to express my support for allowing this church to invest in solutions for our community. As everyone's kind of commented, it's been very clear that these are people who are really invested in communities and listening to what their congregation is saying. I wanted to also lift up what Councilman Mandelbaum was talking about with, what I kind of heard from his comment was how council time is being used on this. And I agree, I think we should be drafting supportive legislation to make this easier for different kind of public use buildings to be able to upgrade their energy situations. And I would also just express a lot of support for if the city wants to talk about federal funding. There are actually numerous ways that the city could be managing federal funds right now that don't necessarily include trainings, but actually could talk about the installation, the purchasing of solar panels, and actually getting those around here so that everyone in our public space could use those. So big thanks to us, to everybody for commenting on this. And hopefully we could actually work on real solutions for our community. Thank you.
Matt?
Matt, you have to unmute yourself.
My apologies. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. And once again, I will apologize again, actually, because I understand that you have stated that you do not want us to mix the topics or agenda issues. However, if you really want to be responsible with a federal grant for over $1 million, perhaps you would use that towards a greener city and making this place somewhere where we don't produce just clutter. And just making it cleaner. Let's get more solar panels. Let's get more wind turbines. Let's get more alternative ways of energy to make this a cleaner and better city. Thank you.
Miranda?
Sorry, she has an old Zoom, and if I open her up, she'll go to panelists.
Ouch. Mike? Mike Ludwig.
Mayor, county, and members of council, just wanted to confirm our zoning code does allow solar by right in non-planned unit developments. So this is really more of an issue of an existing condition in an existing planned unit development and complicated by the fact that any amendments to PUDs, because they're grandfathered under our new zoning code, have to come back to council. So we can definitely look at that grandfather issue on old PUDs, but I just wanted to clarify that for any non-PUDs that are subject to our zoning code, the solar is a permitted by right option under our code. So we did address that in the writing of the new code. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Colo. Here you go.
Hello, Colo. My pronouns are she, they. I would like to say some of that funding that you all are using for the DMPD could be used to put solar panels in areas such as Drake University or just more urban areas where you guys seem to gentrify things. I think that would be a great solution to defunding.
Thank you. Okay, item 50, can we get a motion?
He moved it.
All right.
If I didn't before, I'll move it again.
All right.
He did.
Let's poll the council.
County,
Yes.
Boson,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Westergaard,
Yes.
Mandelbaum,
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes. Motion carries.
Yeah, I want to thank all of our citizens on that issue. It's one that we all are hoping for and looking for renewable energy solutions to get us to a carbon-free energy sourcing for our city moving forward. So it's good to see such strong support for it. Let's move to item 51. On the vacation of an undeveloped dead-end segment of Southwest 14th Court right-of-way from East Vine Street to a point approximately 300 feet to the south, and the conveyance to Christina Bender and Lenny Bender and to Catherine Coleman for $600. A is the first consideration of the ordinance above. B is the final consideration of the ordinance above. The waiver is requested by Catherine Coleman and adjoining property owners. This requires 6 votes. Let's go ahead and again, these items are not zoning items, and the public, you can raise your hands immediately after I read it. So I will ask first if the council has anything to say, and then I don't see any council wishing to speak to this item.
Mayor, I didn't see any attendees that's raised their hand. I'll move item 51, A and B.
All right.
Be certain of public.
Yeah. Oh, we've got Chelsea raised her hand. Do you have a motion on the table? Chelsea, go ahead.
Hello, folks. Thank you. Chelsea, she, her pronouns. I'm looking at a map, so it looks like just trying to cut from Court Avenue down to East Vine Street. So I think it looks great looking at this map. It is kind of a pointless dead end, so I support it.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you, Chelsea. All right, we've got a motion. Poll the council, please.
County,
Yes.
Boson,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Westergaard,
Yes.
Mandelbaum,
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes. Motion carries.
Okay, item 52 is on amendment to the annual budget for the fiscal year ending June 30 of 2021. council communication number 20-465. Scott, did you want to make a quick comment on this one?
Just Mayor, that there is more detail in the communications that's also online, and I can take any questions at the end.
Okay. Council, any comments or questions? And again, this is an item that's routine. So any comments by the public that are germane to this? Indira? Can you unmute yourself?
Hello. Hi. Okay, so I just want to clarify on this. From what I saw reading the council communication, this is just essentially cutting budget, changing the budget due to the changes that came from the COVID-19 crisis. So accounting for the revenue lost and just making up for that on the budget that we're currently in right now. So nothing is changing, just dealing with the repercussions of the COVID-19 crisis. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Much.
Jalen? Oh, see if you can unmute yourself, Jalen. There you go.
Hello. I unmuted myself and then Kay muted me. So just a little quick with the mute button there. But hello, council. Yeah, pertaining to item 52, I do want to say that I'm looking at the council communication and I see that within this budget cut, there is a $256,000 cut to the school resource officer program. I want to say that I support that and would actually encourage y'all to go even further, looking to cut that program specifically. We do know that, in the general budget, there's $1.2 million allocated to the SRO program from the Des Moines budget. So, maybe cutting that entire budget and removing cops from schools would be a good thing to look at when you're looking at saving money and also keeping children safe, stopping the criminalization of Black and brown youth. And yeah, if you're looking to cut more places from the budget because of, COVID costs, the Des Moines Police Department budget is the place to look. Definitely recommend y'all cutting that budget as much as possible.
All right, Chelsea?
Hello, thank you. Chelsea, she, her. On item 52, I would like to uplift what the last speaker's comments were. I also support this item and the amendment to this. I support the cutting into the school resource officer budget. If folks don't know, that is how we have police officers in schools. So I definitely support cutting to that budget as well. Thank you.
Holly?
Hi there. I just wanted to express some gratitude as well to the ways that we're thinking about our budget and keeping people safe, especially with taking money from this school resource officer budget items. I also see, just checking through the communications online, that a lot of this does have to do with COVID-19 policies. And I kind of have a question, just a statement as well, but it seems like COVID isn't going anywhere soon, and we know that our police officers here in Des Moines are supposed to be handing out masks, and so I don't see any particular items about how much of that money is actually going into the masks that the police department is supposed to be handing out. And also, I'm really curious how the police money is getting spent at the moment, because I have yet to see officers actually doing that. So I don't know if anyone can answer to any of those things on the budget items and how this will affect our community with COVID-19 still running rampant, but thank you for allowing me to speak.
Colo? There you go.
Hello. I would also like to say that I would like to say that I am supporting everyone else who spoke before me in saying defunding the SROs, normalizing high school students in handcuffs and paddy wagons is not okay. Criminalizing Black and brown bodies is not okay. Defund the police.
Miranda?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello? Okay. Yeah, I also want to. Yeah, I also want to go ahead and state that I support taking the money from the SRO program. I think that that's a really good move on the council. I want to thank you for that. I do think that we need to move forward even further. And, you know, if we're having budget issues that we're having to look at, you know, the DMPD takes up 40% of our budget. So, you know, that'd be a great place to start looking for money.
All right. Miranda Robb.
Thank you for having me speak. So I just also wanted to voice my support for reallocating those funds from the FRO program. I would personally like to see those funds withdrawn from the budget and maybe put into some better mental health programs and after school resources for those kids. I do know that at times the Parks and Rec Department has been extremely underfunded and short-staffed. So I think that the allocation of those funds back into those after-school programs as well as programs and stuff would benefit our students a lot more in those communities as opposed to having the police in the schools. Thank you.
Vanessa?
Hi, I wanted to say I also support the reduction in the SRO funds. I wanted to clarify what that means. It says revenue reduction from DMPS. So does that mean the city lost funds from DMPS because they're not paying for school resource officers? And then I'd also just like to state that we want the SROs out of schools entirely. They don't need to be there. Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
I think the answer is yes, and thank you. That looks like the last of our speakers. Do we have a motion?
Mayor, I'll move item 52.
Item 52 has been moved. Would you poll the council, please?
County,
Yes.
Boson,
Yes.
Voss,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Westergaard,
Yes.
Mandelbaum,
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes. Motion carries.
Right, item 53, it's on the proposition to authorize an amendment to the lease agreement with Koch Brothers, Inc. For the lease of up to 44 additional multifunction devices, printers, copiers, scanners, and a facsimile for the use in city operations for a period not to exceed 5 years in the amount not to exceed $440,608.78. The total, that'll bring the total to $1,150,000. Council communication number 20-464. Let's go ahead and council, any comments on this item?
Scott, is this go into effect now, or does it go into effect when everyone's back in the offices using it?
So it'd be immediately, and we do have people in the offices using this equipment throughout the pandemic.
But we need additional ones. I mean, there's that many folks working in all the offices for them.
So what we're looking at is the ability, we own outright some of the equipment, so we want the flexibility to put it onto the lease as a different financing tool. And then there is a little bit of room I can get from IT. I don't know if how many devices would be actual growth.
Okay.
Council, any other questions? All right, let's open up. Nick, do you have a quick comment? Nick Shaw? Nick, go ahead.
Nick, you're open.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. I was having a mic issue. I just wanted to elaborate what we had done in the past was the 81 that we currently have at the city. This allows for 44 additional as IT evaluates the remaining department and divisions if they need additional over the course of the next couple of years. So it's meant to give the authority over time to add an additional 44 if needed.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Nick. Indira.
Hello. So when I was looking at this, I looked into the company, and I believe this is a Des Moines-based company. I believe it's still under the Koch brothers family of companies. And I personally am not very comfortable with the city of Des Moines doing business with that industry. If this is just a coincidence, then I would be fine with it as it is a Des Moines-based company. But if not, then I would urge y'all to reconsider. And I would also like to echo Councilman Gatto's question of, do we really need to be updating these things? And if have things that are functional currently, do we really need 44 new devices? Thank you.
They are a local company. They're just in the East Village. And then I think they have a downtown office.
Yeah.
They just share a name.
Yeah, they're located, I believe, at 3rd in Grand. So, Harley?
Hi there, Harley Baldridge, she, they. I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So I do have a question for the council, is that we would be potentially spending up to $1,150,000 total on 44 devices over the next 4 years, potentially, if we need them in our public spaces. Is that what I'm understanding? And then if so, I just question if that is the best use of our funding right now, and if we could actually get an estimate of how that that pricing goes across the industry. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the comment. I think Nick kind of answered that. It's over 5 years, and in addition to that, it gives us the flexibility to switch over there, and that I believe he said that there was 80 some odd items already on it, so it's not just those 48. Let's go ahead. Anna Whipple, you're on.
Good evening. This is Anna Whipple. I'm the Chief Information Officer for the City of Des Moines. Just to clarify, this adds capacity to the lease so we can convert other devices that the city already owns and turn them into leased devices. It's not going to add a significant number of new printers and devices except where we have new buildings like the new fire station. We'll need to put in new printers there.
Probably everything, right? Copiers, facsimile, scanners, all that. Thanks, Anna. Jalen.
Hey, Council. Jalen, he, him. I'll tell you what, looking at this agenda item 53, one thing that does make me happy about it is I'm seeing some improved IT stuff for the city. Some improvements in IT I think are really needed for the city, especially the way we've seen some of these virtual meetings have been ran. So definitely, supportive of y'all looking into ways on how to improve the IT, and if that's doing it through this, then I think that's a good avenue. And I will also say I did used to think that the Koch brothers located downtown was part of the larger Koch brothers based in Kansas, and if that was the case, I would say that's very problematic. We know that the Koch brothers are extremely racist, and we already have enough problems with racism coming from the Des Moines Police Department. Thank you.
Just to clarify, these are not part of that other Koch brothers. This group is locally owned and been here for generations. Jacob.
All right, thank you. Yeah, just doing some quick math here. 44 multifunction devices, that's going to come out to 10,000 per device at the minimum. Seems like a very high number for unnecessary office equipment during a very hard time for folks, and seems like we could be using these resources more efficiently, better things. So yeah, I'd just like to know more. I really don't understand how this works and why we would be spending $10,000 to $20,000 per printer over 5 years. Thank you.
Dan? There you go.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
I would just like to ask Laura regarding all of these items to kindly not scroll down on your screen until the voting has taken place. And that's all I have to say.
Brenda Wilson. Can you unmute yourself, Brenda?
Yeah, as I said before, I apologize. I'm at work, so it'll take me a few seconds. Yeah, I want to go ahead and just say that there are so many other things that we can be, utilizing the money for. I'd like to know a little bit more about what, these are going to be used for, especially since, this is the money in our city that's being allocated. We pay the taxes, so I'm finding it, a common recurrence that I don't understand where the money is going to. And I pay my taxes here in Des Moines, so I think I and all of the people on this call, have a right to know, even in dumb terms, where this money is going to. That's all I have to say.
Miranda Robb?
Yeah, I think, thank you again for having me speak. I think the issue that everyone is concerned about is because, crunching the math in our head, we're saying, okay, well, they want 44 new computers over, 5 years, and that's going to cost X millions of dollars. But, all of us are going, okay, well, a desktop is 600 or 800. So we're wondering where for 44 computers and printers and such, that the number, X million amount of dollars is coming from, because anybody, I just had problems with my ancient computer. So you guys just saw that. So we're wondering where that money is being when the in our heads add up.
Chelsea?
Hello, thank you so much. Yes, I am my pronouns are she, her, but I'm just another community member who's concerned with the exceeding amount of money for item 53. Again, I agree that there's other areas that we could use this money for to more support residents of Des Moines and our health and our livelihood, especially at this time when we're dealing with a pandemic. I also understand that folks are saying that they don't believe this is the same Koch brothers. I would suggest we look into that a bit more, because sounds a little fishy.
Colo? I believe she's our last speaker. There you go.
Hello, Colo, pronouns she, they. I was just wondering, with that budget for item 53, we know that Kim has misused the pandemic budget. So how does the Iowa government plan on replacing that pandemic relief for Iowans with other funds, or how do y'all plan on making up for that?
Mayor, I'll move item 52.
Or 53.
It's 53. I apologize.
All right, item 53 has been moved. Would you poll the council, please? Okay.
Sorry, I was hitting unmute and it wasn't going. County?
Yes.
Boson?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Westergaard?
Yes.
Mandelbaum?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carries.
Item 54 is on the Bill O'Reilly Trail repair at the Iowa Interstate Railroad Bridge, a resolution approving the plan specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, and receive and file the bids and designating the lowest responsible bidder as RW Excavating Solutions, LC. Dan E. Wilson is the managing member, $354,342.82. Council Communication number 20-457. A is approving the contract and bond and permission to sublet. I will turn it over to council. Any questions or maybe start any comments quickly, Scott, from staff?
Nope.
Okay, sounds good. Council, any questions? All right, seeing none. Could we have a motion? I see no attendees.
Nothing from the public.
I'll move 54A and 54 and 54A. Josh, I kind of jumped in on top of you here, but this is an important trail connection. Sorry about that, man.
No worries.
All right, it's been moved. Could you poll the council, please?
County?
Yes.
Boson?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Westergaard?
Yes.
Mandelbaum?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carries.
55 is on the 2020 sewer repair at 3515 Sheridan Avenue. It's a resolution approving the plan, specifications, form of contract documents, engineer's estimate, and receive and file the bids, designating the lowest responsible bidder as MPS Engineers PC, doing business as Kingston Services PC, UMesh G, Shite, President, $268,345. Council Communication number 20-453. A is approving the contract and bond and permission to sublet. Council, any comments on this sewer repair at 3515 Sheridan Avenue? Seeing none, could we get a motion? And I don't see any attendees either that.
Yes, Mayor. I sure appreciate the opportunity to move this one. I've been working on this, seems like a year, and glad to see engineering got it, the right people in there at the right price. So I'm going to move item 55.
All right, item 55 and 55A has been moved, and I'll ask the clerk to poll the council.
County?
Yes.
Boson?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Westergaard?
Yes.
Mandelbaum?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carries.
All right, that concludes our hearings, and let's note that it's 6:12 p.m. This takes us to our ordinances. First consideration, again, on the ordinances. These generally are just amending certain code modifications and code corrections, and generally there are not comments from the public on these items. Item 43 is amending Chapter 114 in the Municipal Code regarding traffic regulation changes as follows. Council Communication 20-449. A is a code modification designate a 25-mile-an-hour maximum speed limit on University Avenue from 25th Street to 31st Street and remove parking on the north side of the street. B is a code correction, 18th Street between Day Street and University Avenue. C is a code correction, correcting references to former McDonald Street. D is a parking restriction from Gleaves Court between East Ovid Avenue and the cul-de-sac. E is a proposed code change to match field conditions on the north side of Walnut Street Bridge and the south side of the Court Avenue Bridge. And F is a proposed code change to add loading zones on the west side of Southwest 5th Street between Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway and Tuttle Street.
See, I'll move approval of 43.
A, B, C, D.
All of them, yeah, 43, A through F.
Okey-doke. Any comment?
Want to waive the other readings?
And I'll waive the other readings.
All right. Poll the council, please.
County,
Yes.
Boson,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Westergaard,
Yes.
Mandelbaum,
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carries.
Item 44, it's amending Chapter 30, Article 8, related to secondhand goods. A, as a final consideration of the ordinance, the waiver is requested by the Chief Wingert and requires 6 votes. B is approving the amendment to the schedule of fees relating to secondhand goods. Any comment, council, on this?
We had quite a lengthy workshop about this. I think it's a good thing. I think it'll help a lot of our constituents.
Yep, I agree.
I'll move 44 A and B.
All right, 44 A and B has been moved. Could you poll the council, please?
County,
Yes.
Boson,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Westergaard,
Yes.
Mandelbaum,
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carries.
All right, item 45, council request. This one is communication from Councilmember Mandelbaum to present a draft resolution concerning the city's climate and energy goals to the council and to direct our city manager to schedule a work session in November to discuss such goals and a draft resolution at that time to present a resolution to the council for consideration, hopefully by the second meeting in December. Councilmember Mandelbaum, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to raise this issue and put it in context. You know, we've spent a little bit of time as a council talking about climate change, and you know, we know it's a problem that's bigger than just an environmental problem. We recognize that it's the challenge of our time, and how we respond is going to determine what type of world we leave to future generations. From the conflicts they'll face to the places they can live and how they live. And we're already seeing the effects of climate change with more extreme weather all around the world. But we're experiencing it here in Des Moines too. From the rain event that we experienced in June of 2018 to seeing things like the derecho just this past summer. And we know that local governments have played a leadership role in addressing climate change. Communities around the country and around the state have adopted climate action plans and begun implementing policies that will achieve meaningful emission reductions. We should follow suit here in Des Moines. And while we work to develop a comprehensive climate action plan, we should we should be engaging in the process of adopting policies that we know will form the foundation of our plan. We took that step, or a step rather, in that direction with our benchmarking ordinance last year. And when we had that conversation, I specifically suggested a couple of additional actions that we could take, including adopting more aggressive emission reduction goals and the adoption of a strong clean energy target. And that's what this resolution and this process is designed to address. You know, one of the things, we're fortunate to have a mayor who's helped lead on climate change. And by way of proclamation in the past, he's adopted greenhouse gas emission goals for the city based on the Paris Climate Accord. But the council has never actually adopted our own greenhouse gas emission reduction goals. And I think we have a reason to revisit the goals, particularly in the context of last fall's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report, which made it pretty clear that there's an urgency above and beyond the goals in the Paris Agreement. And the IPCC report notes that to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius would require reducing global carbon emissions by 45% from 2010 levels by 2030. And so this resolution and what we will hopefully be talking about in this process is adopting the goals suggested by the IPCC report. They're strong goals and something to work for. But it goes beyond that because we can't simply adopt emission reduction goals. We also need to map out how we'll meet them. And a clean energy standard is a critical policy for achieving meaningful emission reduction goals. And that's why this resolution starts a conversation about adopting a 24/7, 100% clean energy standard by 2030. This lays out a framework, and I recognize that others on the council want an opportunity to dig into these issues in more detail. And I think that's what the process laid out for at the council work session. Perhaps more than one if needed, will help accomplish. And this item directs the manager to schedule a work session in November, and then to bring this up for timely action before the end of the year. And I think this is an important step toward the city of Des Moines being a climate leader, and to all of us taking action in a way that we've talked about, but to date haven't done. So I look forward to further discussion, and with that, I'll gladly move the item.
All right, the item's been moved to receive and file. Any other comment by council members? Thank you. Let's go ahead and, I guess, poll the council.
Mayor, one quick comment as we receive and file this and we work through it. The franchise that we're currently under with Mid-America, and when it comes up for renegotiation in 2 years, this type of direction or draft resolution won't have anything together with that. Is that what we're looking at? Is that what we'll be talking about during the workshop? I imagine. Correct?
Scott?
We will certainly address the concerns of how the franchise fee agreement, how that pertains to the city's right-of-ways, and give advice on whether or not to include the franchise agreement. I would tell you at this point, what I've seen, we would likely want to keep that very separate. And so we would start the conversation at the workshop with that legal analysis and my recommendation.
Thank you.
But I think that all of us want to work closely with Mid-American, who's our distributed energy provider, to get them to work towards that 100% carbon-free energy for the city of Des Moines.
That's correct. And I assume they're going to be part of this conversation and part of the workshop, correct?
I think that they need to be at some moment or another, because they're part of the way we're going to get there.
Well, I would hope that they will be there from the beginning to the end, and let's see what they're doing for our constituents, for our residents. You know, I think that should be part of this draft resolution or receive and file, that Mid-America will be a part of this from the start. So if we need to put that in the resolution, I would ask Josh to add that, please. If we need it in there, or they can just be there.
I don't know that we need it there, but I welcome hearing from Mid-American and having the opportunity to talk about their role in all of this and how we achieve this goal together. So
I just think that's something that we can all be educated from what they're doing. I know you're very educated. This is your day job, and we appreciate that. But a lot of us don't do these things on a daily basis. So I would like to have Mid-America as the professional in our community to be there.
All right, and I think we've gone over that. Thanks, Joe.
Thank
Carl,
you.
Your hand up.
Oh, thank you, Mayor County. So we're doing a receive and file on this. Is beyond the council questions, is there a reason that we need to have additional comments? It would appear that we can just move on to other agenda items. Is that correct?
That's correct. We just need to receive and file this. And I think Linda wants to make a quick comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I think my questions have been answered, but I just wanted to make it clear that we're not voting on this resolution. We're just receiving and filing, and we will have a workshop. And again, I think of Mid-American as our partner, and they need to be at the table and be part of the presentation. So I'm glad to hear that Josh would add that as an amendment.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm happy to work with the manager on having Mid-American, and if there are other stakeholders that are appropriate to help provide a full balanced presentation. I think we'll work on getting that to make sure that it's as informative and that council has the opportunity to get all of their questions answered, so that we understand what we're looking at going forward and how to move forward as best we can.
All right. I guess we have a poll. Poll the council, please.
County,
Yes.
Boson,
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Westergaard,
Yes.
Mandelbaum,
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carries.
All right, item 46 is Councilmember Boson wants to speak on amending the city code to prohibit both a conflict of interest and appearance of a conflict of interest in acceptance of any city grants or city funding by council members or their immediate family members, or the acceptance of funding from vendors or other entities the city materially supports, and to direct the city manager and the attorney to put together some language for an amendment for discussion.
I just am bringing this forward to get clarity for both the members of the city council and also for staff. So I think the mayor laid out what I would like to ask the city manager and city attorney to draft language to amend the city code to talk about these items that are listed.
Okay, any comment from anybody? Linda?
No, I'm not going to say anything right now. I think we all know what this is about. And so I do have some comments, but I'm not going to say them here. I'll let others speak.
Okay, Bill?
Thank you, Mayor. I can't support this in its existing format. It's almost like discrimination in its wildest form. You know, we all pay taxes, but then to carve out these people because they somehow are in the city council, then they get no benefit. That doesn't make sense to me. And who wouldn't want to improve their neighborhood? That's what the whole Invest DSM program is about. Everybody would be improving and raising the property values, which increases the property taxes. You know, as that goes forward, you have people that can make improvements that help the entire city. That's what I don't quite understand. You know, especially, let's say I got one, I would only see any benefit when I sell the place. In the meantime, I'm paying higher property taxes because of the increased valuation. What troubles me a little bit is the fact that, you know, I could be a homeowner and not get this, but I can let an out of town or an even out of state landlord that would get to have this program to work on their rental property. They'd increase the value to the tenant. The tenant has to pay higher rent, and then these people take all that money out of Des Moines and use it. That's, you know, that's what I'm scratching my head on. And I just, you know, if you're starting to look at that and you're limiting it to immediate family members, what's to say I'm not going to help a friend out? That leaves that door kind of wide open. You know, where you go down the line on that really gets messy. I would consider something that if one member of the council got a program and was directly, and they pushed this through and it only applied to them, I agree. I mean, that's where we're at. But if it's a citywide program, I don't see why we shouldn't be a part of it. So that's why I don't support this in its form. If it's modified, I could look at that, but that's my view.
I guess I was more leaning towards if it's not a citywide program and there's specified amount and there's only so much to give out, then we do have an unfair, you could be perceived as unfair advantage and would be maybe given something. So I think it's the appearance of a conflict becomes as real as possibly the conflict. It's probably more the appearance. So that's why
That's what I would agree with, Connie. That if there's an appearance of it, but if there isn't legally, that's what I want legal to go through. If it's legal in every step of the way, I'd see no reason why not. Don't we want to improve our city? That's what the whole thing of an Invest DSM was about. Raise the value of the neighborhoods where they're going to appreciate in assessed value, where we're going to get increased property.
I'm offering this up as a receive and file, and I guess we can, if anybody else would like to comment.
I just can't support it in its regular form.
Scott, make a comment. I think that what we want to do is, you know, put together the draft language, but then I think we should open it up for further discussion because it sounds like we have some a lot of different views on this. Scott?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mayor. So the city attorney and myself can put together some clarity and a policy that would allow staff then to know how to administrate the different programs across the city and how those should be handled. So we will put that draft together and what the options are, and then probably have a workshop on it, would be my suggestion.
Before we would make it into
before any policy.
Yeah, this is just to get a draft.
Yep.
And are we going to hear from the audience?
Not on, I don't think on this.
This time, generally on the council requests, we're discussing issues that we're going to bring back after we have language put together where we can have an open discussion and the general public will be able to see it and give us input.
Well, I would like to hear from the public. I know that we've got some people that would like to speak.
I can reach out.
I don't see why we're not going to listen to them.
Yeah, well, it's up to council. If everybody wants to hear it, we don't on these items.
We don't even know what it's going to be written yet.
I would say that we're just receiving filing this, and then the language will come before us. And I would suggest, Mayor, as that language comes before us, maybe we can have a workshop that would address something like this, or during our strategic planning, maybe we can have a discussion about this policy. But ultimately, if this is about NFC or NDC or Invest DSM, they have a separate board that would okay grants or funding to individuals. I think that if this is, I just think for now we should have the discussion. We should vote on this, and that we're really not voting on anything here other than come up with some type of policy and then come back to us and then have it in a workshop. Is that what you're looking at, Scott, or am I mistaken?
That's what I'm suggesting, that we bring it back. But in addition to that, I think that if there's any members of the public that have specific input, as the city attorney and the city manager are putting this together, please forward your thoughts on to the manager's office, and then they can put that into our discussion as either supports or concerns around policy of funding and conflicts of interest.
It doesn't seem quite right that we let everyone else to speak, but we're not going to let somebody speak on this that has an important point.
Well, let them speak, Frank.
Generally, these are council items that we discuss amongst ourselves, and the suggestion here is to put something together that addresses this. But I'm asking for input to go to the people that are going to give us some of that draft language is they put it together. Usually on these council items, as we're discussing it amongst ourselves, it's not time with no draft in front of us to be having an open discussion. We see what the issue is here and ask for some input, but I could be wrong. I mean, if everybody wants to open it up, we could do that.
Again, Mayor, I just want to say it's to get clarity. As Joe brought up, the other groups that Mr. Gray or Bill brought up, they have their own board. They can set their own rules and regulations and bylaws. So this is really just to get clarity for us as a council, because questions have come up from some of these other entities. So, and it could come back. So until we have more information, I would think it would be best to have the proper language drafted before we have a lot of comments.
Carl, your hand's up.
Oh, thank you, Mayor County. So the previous agenda item we handled was regarding the greenhouse gas emissions. That was a receive and file and ask for staff input. And so on that particular case, we did not take comments from the public. So if what we just did on item 45 has any weight, I think we should just go ahead and move this item and seek input from the public in giving us direction. Thank you.
Well, I still feel that it's important. I think that there are some issues that are at hand that are very important to people. And, you know, let's just call it what it is. We know that a family member has some interest in purchasing a property and was told by Invest DSM, hey, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, when there isn't even a policy in place. And I guess I'm just a little confused, and I'm confused about item 46, because are we talking about tax abatement? Are we talking about TIF? Are we talking about gap funding? You know, what are we talking about?
It was primarily for if there's limited amount or city grants and things that are limited in nature. TIF and the tax abatement and things are not part of that. But I will let them, let the city manager and the city attorney come back with some draft language.
With input from all sources, but
Right.
we're going to have this discussion in open forum.
And then we can have more discussion once we see language.
During the workshop.
Right.
That's the appropriate place for a policy discussion before it's put on the agenda and before we voted on it. We've always done it that way, at least as long as I've been on the council.
I think it's Joe.
Is that Joe speaking? His mic's not on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Connie got to hear me, but I just think it's the appropriate part is before we ever make a policy change, we always have a council workshop. We get input from all sides, and I would encourage that we will do that this time. There's some things in here, obviously, that are problematic for others, and including myself. But those things are going to be worked out as we go through the process. And I think Connie's just brought this up to start drafting a little bit of language and start having some discussion. So we do have a policy, because unfortunately, there's never been a policy, and I've been a victim, and my business has been a victim as part of that. And I've never applied for anything else. I didn't apply for any other grants that during this COVID through the city, just because I don't want to have an appearance of a conflict of interest. So I did not do it. But we never had a policy at the city, and we need to discuss it, but we do need to get it right. Immediate family members and things like that. I mean, we need to have a discussion about that. The other part of it is a separate board that's going to have to vote on that by themselves. So that's, I mean, I just think that we're not voting on a policy right now.
I think the idea here, Connie, would be to receive and file and forward this on to the manager and attorney to put initial draft together for discussion and input and comments at a workshop.
Yes, that was the goal. So we get clarity so that everybody knows what is expected of them and understand the policy.
Scott, do you have any idea what the time frame might be? I think to Linda's point, I think people need to know sooner rather than later how this is going to be handled.
Yeah, I'll talk with the city manager or city attorney, and we'll expedite it.
Okay. All right. If that's the motion, let's poll the council.
Did Boson make that motion?
Yes, I did. I moved it.
Okay, thank you. County?
Yes.
Boson?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Westergaard?
No.
Mandelbaum?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 6 yes, motion carries.
Okay, takes us to 46I. This is adopting a City of Des Moines equity framework for the evaluation and implementation of equitable delivery of city services and amenities. Council Communication number 20-470. This item is approving. I'm going to turn it over to the city manager to kind of go over where we are on this one.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a great opportunity for the city to start the process of reviewing our city policies, our services programs, practices, and delivery of services by creating an equity lens, much similarity to how we have a financial lens to all decisions that we make at the city. We will now be creating an equity lens. So this is our starting point. The framework is designed to give explanation and more detail behind the data, the goals, toolkits that we can create, the services we provide, participation that we ask for, and the policies that we design at the city. So this is, again, the first step. I'm very anxious to set our equitable service team in motion to then take it from the framework into actual policies and service level impacts for our residents. There's a lot of movement in this area, as you might imagine. I thank the council for participating also in the 21-day equity challenge. There are conversations that are being started with our business partners about equity, especially at the CEO level and the HR executive level. And so this is a very timely conversation to have, even though the city of Des Moines has been at this for some time now. So again, I appreciate the support on this and see this as just a first step of many, such that our residents here in Des Moines can fulfill their full potential through their basic needs and their well-being. I'll answer any questions. I'm just excited to get this going.
Council, any questions for Scott? I want to thank everybody for working together to move this forward. I think this is really a strong policy and a great thing to be moving forward to evaluate and implement the delivery of equitable services. And we're gonna open it up and see if there's any public comment on this. We'll ask people if they want to raise their hands, and any comment. All right, and let's say, I think we have 20 minutes on this. So a couple minutes each. Harley, let's start with you.
Hi, yeah, thank you for having me back. Harley Boldridge, she, they. I just really want to affirm as a non-white member of Des Moines that this gives me some hope that there is a forward direction for people like me in this community, and for making this a community for me to be safe in, to thrive in, to work in, to maybe have a family in. So I do want to just offer support. I think this is great. One of the things that I'm curious about, and I have been searching around trying to find more language on what it means to have an equity lens, especially after the most recent survey on like quality of life here in Des Moines, is how you guys plan to have this equity framework be a transparent process as well. As someone who's done a lot of work in equity frameworks in different varying settings, I have found that that is something that's very important to make sure that people like me who want to offer feedback and also maybe partake in some of this work can be a part of this as well, for bringing equity to all people in our community. I was just curious how this equity lens also has built into it some transparency for the public. Thank you.
Chelsea?
Hey folks, this is Chelsea Chisholm Vargas. My pronouns are she, her, ella. I would say that I think this equity lens would have been very valuable in the last conversation you folks were having when Councilmember Bill Gray referred to that item as discrimination in its highest form. Councilman Joe Gatto then referred to themselves as, a possible victim in all of this. So I think this equity lens, super important when you folks are even just speaking generally. I have great concerns on who is developing your equity lens. I really hope it is not the folks on the council. That's my comment. Thanks.
Hello. Hi, this is Jalen. My pronouns are he, him. Appreciate y'all unmuting me, giving me the opportunity to once again address the council. Speaking on 46I and the approving of the new Des Moines Equity Framework, I will say that this sounds like a great first step. It does make me happy to hear that the Des Moines City Council and the city is working on this and going to adopt this new equity framework and working out of this new equity lens. I think this is extremely important and long overdue. I will say that I really do hope that y'all do not just think that this is something that would be enough, or y'all aren't thinking in a more broader scope, I would definitely encourage y'all to not only look at the services and amenities that the city is offering and making those equitable, but looking at every aspect of city government and making that equitable. I do know that our Civil and Human Rights Department is severely underfunded at the moment. I think that if we were able to get them more funding, we would be able to do more projects like this and make our city more equitable for everyone. A good place to get some money for the Civil and Human Rights budget would be from the Des Moines Police Department budget. Just a recommendation to council as y'all are looking at new budget reallocation money. I will also say that I think it would be great if y'all had some training or some kind of equity framework, something where y'all were investing in doing this for the city council. We have seen some problematic things from the city council, and I think that having an equity framework or an equity lens, as y'all want to put it, and really making sure that that's ingrained into the members of city council, I think would just really go a long way into improving how relationships are between the city council and constituents. Like we've seen on this call already, some folks don't really have a good understanding of discrimination. Saying that that would be discrimination in its highest form, I think is offensive to folks who actually are discriminated against. So just want to put that out there for Councilmember Bill Gray to reconsider his definition of discrimination and what that really means as well.
Indira? We'd like to have all comments be germane to this issue, please.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm really happy that the city of Des Moines is adopting an equity framework, and I wanted to extend my thanks to the staff for taking the initiative on this. When I was doing communication, it looked like you guys had a lot of meetings over the last a while, it looked like. So I'm really grateful that this is something that you guys are focusing on. I think that these are the type of things that I and people in my community are really happy to see you guys doing. These are the kinds of things that make us feel like Des Moines is for us as well. So I just great to see that you guys are adopting this equity framework. And I think that it's a good start towards making our city more equitable towards everyone. Thank you so much.
Murphy?
Hi, I just want to echo what other people have said. My name is Murphy Burke. My pronouns are she, her, hers. Looking at the equity framework, I just want to focus mostly on the data, the services, and the policy section of this. So on the data, when it comes to evaluating the delivery of city services, I'd like to advocate that the police budget and police actions are evaluated as part of that, as that is a use of taxpayer money. And I would argue that that is a city service that has been inequitably delivered in the way the police treat white citizens versus citizens who are Black in Iowa. So that is one area to consider. And then that also incorporates into ensuring the equitable delivery that's listed in the services section. I think that this entire framework is great, but sets you up that it is necessary that you evaluate the police department, which is the largest budget line item for this city. Thank you for your time. Bye.
Miranda Wilson.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and uplift the comment that was made previously before me. I think that in lines of inequitable delivery and things, our police department are the biggest offenders here. But yeah, I want to go ahead and thank the council for taking this first step. I definitely support this. And then I want to raise concern and kind of just reiterate the fact that I think that when establishing a framework, you should be looking to your constituents, especially your Black and Brown constituents, for input on how to actually successfully implement this framework, because they're primarily affected. We want to make this city a better place for them to live, and we have seen problematic actions and language and just general attitudes from members of the council. So I have great fear if this is going to be something that is closed to only the council, but I would encourage y'all to open it up to the members of the community as a way to get involved in actually making change in our community here in Des Moines.
Peyton?
Hi. Hello.
Yep, you're on.
Hi, I would just like to say that I think it's a really good idea to adopt equity framework here in Des Moines. Really, it would just be a really good thing for all of your citizens. I think you've heard a lot of support for this, so I really hope that you take that into consideration and adopt this equity framework as it'll help all of your constituents really. So thank you.
Miranda?
Yeah, hi. My name is Miranda and I'm they, them pronouns. I just wanted to also voice my approval of this equitable delivery plan. The one concern I did have was obviously, especially as a majority, if you're white, my concern is that in making this framework, we are not consulting enough with the Black communities and the POC communities, and that also goes for LGBTQ, et cetera, in drafting up these framework policies. So as a white person, I think it's important that we not speak over the people of color in these issues. And so towards that end, I would encourage more conversation with the leaders of Black Lives Matter communities, the other indigenous communities here in Des Moines, and maybe get more input from them on what would be considered appropriate actions towards that plan of equity. Thank you.
Jacob?
Good evening, Council. So yeah, I just wanted to add that it is important for constituents in the city of quote unquote marginalized communities. They should be at the table and they should be kind of leading this work. You should be hearing from them first. And I think a good example would be the town halls that have been held the last couple of weekends. That's a great example of a model to follow. I know a lot of folks are not comfortable speaking in these settings because of the racist comments and acts by folks running the meetings and folks who get out in the meetings. So we got to make sure that we protect our people, make sure people are safe and comfortable to open up and share, because that's where the learning starts. And that's where this type of work, equity work, can begin. Thank you.
Amanda?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, my name's Amanda, she, her pronouns, and I came in right as whatever his name is was discussing discrimination in the wildest nature, and I am just completely flabbergasted that you guys were talking about buildings. So that's all I have to say, and that is just absolutely ridiculous, but thank you.
KJ?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. For the most part, I just wanted to echo the words of probably the last 10 speakers. This equitable nature of the framework that you're about to implement, I think it has to come right at the doorstep of the Des Moines Police Department. And the assessment of that department should come from an outside resource. I don't care where you get the money. Preferably you take it from their budget because they're the ones that need it. Finding and utilizing experts from outside the city of Des Moines, I think, would also be imperative. But like the previous couple callers had said, accessing the various community members that are going to be the most impacted and feel the possible successes of this framework. Those people also need to be at the table. And I'm just going to throw this out there. There are tons of qualified individuals that are able to do this assessment for you, even at Drake University, including our Associate Provost, Aaron Lane. So those are some people and some contacts you might need to reach out to. Thank you.
Rachel?
Hi, Rachel Vipon, she, her, hers, pronouns. I would also like to uplift what the past speakers have said, supporting this. And also just, I would like to reiterate the importance that we make sure that the people that will be impacted, so our POC friends and neighbors and Indigenous people and everyone around us who has been impacted by not having this in place, be brought to the table first. I this summer have seen such strong leadership from these communities and such incredible new ideas about how we can make this community a good place to live for everybody, and not including them would be a huge disservice as well as a major issue. And yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Lily, our last speaker.
Hi, thank you so much. So yes, Lily Nellens, she, her pronouns. I'd like to echo everyone's comments that this is a great move forward. I'm super happy that this is up for discussion, and you guys should definitely adopt this. Though I just want to reiterate what people have said, that this is a starting point and not the final act towards ensuring equity in Des Moines. And I'd also like to highlight that when y'all were discussing this, you mentioned that there's already a financial lens that's used to make Des Moines decisions about Des Moines government and spending, which I think says a lot about why we are where we are right now. And I also think going forward, it needs to be clarified that if the financial lens and the equity lens are pointing in different directions, that the equity lens is the one that takes priority, because I would hope we can all agree that people's lives and equity are more important than money and financial decisions. And the goal of the city is not to make a profit. So I would really encourage you all to formalize how you're going to handle those conflicts, because equity is often in conflict with what makes people money, and put in writing that you'll choose equity when those conflicts do occur.
All right, if everybody, council, somebody can give us a motion to receive and file all the, not only the 46I, but the comments and input that we got from the public.
I'll move to receive 46I.
All right, poll the council, please.
County,
Yes.
Posen,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Westergaard,
Yes.
Mandelbaum,
Yes.
Gatto. Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carried.
All right. That brings us to our public speaking items. We kind of went over that before. So all those wishing to speak have asked to be included on the agenda, and we only be calling on those who did register to speak this evening. So because of the number of speakers this evening, everybody's going to get about 1 minute and 20 seconds or to speak and have your comments. So we're going to try to keep out of your way and let you speak. So please keep on your time because at the end of that 1 minute and 20 or 80 seconds, the clerk will announce time and then move on to the next speaker. So let's get started right in and ask, please, to begin with Robert Gamble, who wants to speak regarding the increase law enforcement salaries and increased funding for additional training in mental health. Robert? Can we find Robert?
If they're a phone number, they should raise their hand.
Robert, are you a phone number? If you are, raise your hand maybe. All right, I don't see Robert at the moment. Let's move on to Jerry Cox regarding multiple accidents in front of her rentals on East Watrous Avenue. Jerry? Is Jerry Cox out there?
Your Honor, she notified me she would not be speaking. She got her matter resolved with engineering and the assistant city manager. Is he not hearing?
Okay.
Yep, we heard you.
Let's move to Adam Callanan regarding the defunding the Des Moines Police Department. Adam?
Would everyone raise their hand because I'm having, okay.
Adam, you're good.
Thank you. So I'm speaking on defunding the police because it's been months now since police violence has just been rampant throughout Des Moines. I mean, it was already bad in the first place. We've seen really bad situations since May. And I really think we need some way to hold the police accountable. And I haven't heard any other suggestion from council of a way to hold them accountable. I think that I could maybe take seriously people not wanting to defund the police if they had an alternate path to resolving the violence, such as the tear gassing of Black children. But there really doesn't seem to be any other path that's before us. So I think defunding the police is really our only choice at this point. Starting to cut away some of their budget whenever they're violent against citizens like they've been this year. Also just wanted to speak to the fact that we know to find solutions that work for our community, we need to hear from community members. And that the unchecked power of the police is one of the many things that's used to silence community voices. We can't have free speech or assembly when people who speak or assemble must risk harassment, spying, theft, imprisonment, and assault from DMPD, actions council has all found no way to respond to. DMPD is encouraged to write their own rules, such as the crowd control policy, and if they break their own rules, nothing really happens to them. And also, according to the new rules invented by the council, I would ask everyone to understand what these rules will look like when we're no longer virtual. Zoom silencing and banning will be reflected as cops dragging speakers out of the council chambers. Such actions will break down.
All right. Let's move to Max Tenson, who wants to speak regarding the militant actions of the Des Moines Police Department. Max?
Your Honor, Max Tenson sent me an email that he was unable to attend and he will be moved to the next agenda.
Okay. Let's move to Lennon Cardwell regarding the brutality of the Des Moines Police Department.
Lennon sent me an email as well later today and also notified me he was unable to attend.
Okay. Let's move to Molly Arndt regarding the Des Moines Police Department and police union activity. Molly?
Oh, there she was. Molly, raise your hand again, and just the person that's going to be called on, raise your hand. Okay, thank you, Molly. Molly has old software, and it will promote her to a panelist. So I will ask IT if I can promote her or not. I'm waiting for an answer. Okay, Molly, raise your hand one more time. Molly, you're on.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, this is Molly Arndt. I use she or they pronouns, and I live in Ward 1. So first off, I would like to simply lend my support for the 100% clean energy resolution. Just real quick, wanted to throw that in there. And then I would also like to discuss public health. The primary purpose of the Des Moines City Council should be to ensure the safety of their constituents. By refusing to respond to calls to defund the police from residents of Des Moines, they are allowing the rampant violence and corruption of the DMPD to terrorize the city. Known abuser Paul Parizek was recently fined $100 for violating Iowa's open records law in his role as public information officer of the DMPD after trying to cover up an unprovoked attack by officers. This is just one incident in DMPD's incredibly racist, violent history, ranking number 14 in the nation in incidents of violence and #1 in the nation in racial disparity of arrests. Yet the Des Moines City Council, who themselves have faced intimidation tactics from DMPD's police union, continue to funnel hundreds of thousands of dollars into DMPD, fueling a public health crisis of police brutality in Des Moines. And while I'm talking about public health crises, I would also like to mention that I have never seen a DMPD officer wearing a mask, and that there were a lot of law enforcement for Trump signs at the super spreader rally last Wednesday, which leads me to think that the police are fueling the COVID pandemic that, like the police brutality crisis, primarily affects BIPOC people here in Des Moines. The money currently.
Next, Your Honor.
Okay, Lily? Regarding abolishing police department. Lily?
Hi, yes, Lily Nellen, she, her pronouns. I've been a lifelong resident of Des Moines, and I also research genocide for a living. And so that's what I'd like to talk about real quick today. And I don't mean to invoke that word to be dramatic or hyperbolic. Genocide is actually something that happens far more frequently than we like to believe. In fact, this country was founded on the twin genocides against Indigenous people and against Black people through slavery. And those genocides are ongoing and always happening here in this country. But the types of genocidal massacres that we usually think of, like in Rwanda or Bosnia, those actually, we're getting a lot closer to having one of those in this country and potentially in this city too. And one of the largest causes of genocide statistically is police that don't have enough civilian overview or oversight and have too many resources and a known distrust or dislike of a certain group of people. And I think you can easily understand that the DMPD and other police departments across this country fit into that category. So I think if you're someone who is concerned about preventing genocide, or one of those people who like to say like never again, or what I would have done during the Holocaust, you need to think about what you're doing now and how you're going to prevent a police-led massacre from happening here.
All right, James Grimm, regarding the Des Moines Police Department's use of simple misdemeanor charges as a means of harassment. James, are you on?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. Well, you know, ever since these protests have started, the Des Moines Police Department, well, they've done it before that too, but they use these, you know, vague, simple misdemeanor charges, you know, like disorderly conduct, interference, and that, knowing full well that these charges will end up getting dismissed, and that the person that they're arresting is not a threat to the public in any way. But they know that that person's now going to have an arrest record. They're going to have to pay money for a lawyer, and all other things that go along with. And they also know that you know, discovery is not available in simple misdemeanor cases, so the defendant is not able to defend themselves against the charges properly. And they know this, but they know you know, they won't give up the videotapes or the evidence for these arrests, and they do it. The main purpose, they're not arresting people for public safety. They're arresting people to discourage dissent. They don't like people speaking out against them. And everybody, you know, everybody's seen what the Des Moines Police Department does to people, especially at the protests when they're going into people's elevators and arresting people, you know, all because they lost their temper or somebody called them a name. And, you know, police are not judge, jury, and executioner. They, you know, it's not up to them to be harassing people like this.
Time.
Haley Dickers, regarding police accountability. Haley?
Hi, Haley, they, them. I was going to speak on police defunding, but I don't think you're going to listen. I like to believe that people can change, but for you, City Council, I think it's too late. If you don't see your own hypocrisy, and if you don't see your own hands roll in silencing the voice of your constituents, if you don't see the systemic racism in our so-called justice system, then you're too late. You haven't been paying attention, you haven't been listening, and you've made it clear with your new restrictive rules that you never will. It's disgusting to me that many of you claim faith and still fail to correctly identify the oppressed and the oppressor. Whose side are you on if you not only uphold racist institutions, but also limit and suppress the people's voice. I hope you take the time to reflect on who you're trying to protect and who you're trying to silence. Is there a pattern? Because we see one.
Time. Well, we're moving on because she was done.
Yep, Truly Winger. Regarding police funding. Truly?
Truly raise your hand. Hit *9 if you're a phone number.
I don't see Truly. Let's move on to Jordan Christensen regarding mask mandate. Is Jordan on?
Jordan?
Jordan, are you on?
It doesn't look like it, Your Honor.
Okay.
If you're on, please raise your hand. *9 if you're a phone. Okay.
All right, let's move on to Peyton Schumacher regarding the council rules. Peyton?
Peyton, please raise your hand.
There she is.
Hello?
Okay, Peyton, you're on.
Hi, okay. So 22 speakers have signed up for this meeting in part to highlight how restrictive your rules for speaking time are. We had 80 seconds each to speak, which is not enough time clearly to get our points across since many people have been cut off. It's clear to me that many of you are not interested in any part of your job that includes interaction with the public. For example, in your meeting this morning, when it was suggested that you not host town halls for the city budget because of an increase in public interest, that would make the meetings too long. So I have a few demands. First is that overall constituent request time must be extended to at least 1 hour. Individual constituent speaking time must be extended back to 5 minutes per speaker. Public input must be accepted for every input of the agenda other than the consent. The city attorney must rule on the germaneness of comments, not the presiding officer. And in online meetings, when public input is called for, adequate time must be given for constituents to raise their hand before the matter is voted on. And those who raise their hands at the wrong time must not be deemed as disruptive. So those are my demands for your city council, and I'll be emailing those to you as well. I really think that this is important and you guys need to be listening to your constituents. Thank you.
Miranda Wilson regarding council actions. Miranda?
Okay, sorry about that. Like I said, I'm at work, so I apologize about the swollen meeting time. So yeah, I wanted to go ahead and just really update the fact that there's so many people here who care so much about the city and who only have a minute to speak in front of you, who are supposed to be our representatives. And you know, when it comes down to it, really the only thing I have to say is I'm angry, and the people around me I know are angry, and we're hurting. And if you don't want to listen to the pain that this city is causing the people here, physical injuries, emotional injuries, if you don't want to listen to that, find a different job. And if you don't want to find a different job, but you still want to hear us and you want to change the rules to make sure that we can be heard, as is our constitutional right, we will vote you out.
All right. Carter White regarding city council thwarting civic engagement. Carter?
Hi, my name's Carter. My pronouns are he, him. And I would definitely just like to reiterate the demands that Peyton put forth. And I really hope that each council member looks through that email and understands how the new rules have really affected participation in these meetings. For example, I signed up for this meeting and I had no idea how much time I would be allotted to go over what I wanted to go over. I originally wanted to go over Paul Parizek breaking the law and being fined and somehow having the same position with the police department where he has been known to lie to the media. Additionally, electronically, these meetings aren't working out. If someone raises their hand in a meeting because that option is there for them, they should not be removed from a meeting. Instead, they should not have the option to raise their hands. ASL interpreters. Why have we not had an ASL interpreters? I understand that closed captionings are available, but they are not an alternative to ASL interpretation. So additionally, please look over Peyton's email with the list of demands and take all of that into consideration. Thank you.
Jacob Grove regarding climate justice is racial justice. Jacob?
Jacob, please raise your hand. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to speak on the resolution for 100% carbon-free energy. So wealthy and affluent nations like America have done the most damage. They've emitted the most emissions that are leading us towards this path of destruction. And we have the most power to change that. At our current rates, we're nowhere close to like maintaining a habitable planet. And what we're gonna see in our lifetime, the next 20 years, is hundreds of millions of people displaced forever, their lives and livelihoods gone. Here in Des Moines, the 30,000 plus people who live in poverty are going to be hit hardest by climate change. It's going to affect the most vulnerable, which will have a disparate impact on people of color because of the racist history of America. And those in power right now, the choices you make are going to affect the rest of our life, the next generation, and potentially the rest of humankind. So when I hear that we're not sure about this, like every day of inaction is like cutting years off of our life, and it's a stab in the back. So climate justice is racial justice because white people, their choices are going to affect people of color more than them, and we can change that. So Mid-American makes $500 million in profit. They don't invest that into our communities. They give that to share.
All right, our next speaker is Giovanni Bahena regarding publicly funded art venues in Des Moines. Giovanni? You're on. You're open up, Giovanni.
Hello, Giovanni Bahena, longtime resident of Southside Des Moines, he, she, they interchangeably. During the Great Depression, FDR was able to offer work to small sections of the population through the WPA, and different federal projects brought the arts and humanities to communities that hadn't had access prior, though not nearly enough. During the AIDS epidemic, the world lost generations worth of artists, predominantly queer BIPOC. Our current health and economic crises put us in a position where we could lose more arts venues and working artists in the city of Des Moines. I believe this council should look into creating publicly funded art and performance venues that are accessible to, for, and by the public, so that any challenge that the city faces in the future does not put the artistic scene into jeopardy. The art scene is what made and makes Des Moines vibrant. And if we lose it, then we're nothing more than what they say about us. Flyover country. Thank you.
Indira Shoemaker regarding the Des Moines City Council's role as representatives of the people. Indira?
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Indira Shoemaker, pronouns she, her. City Council, you are our elected representatives. Your job is to represent the interests and concerns of your constituents. That means us, those who cut out time out of their week to research and come to these meetings, and those who call in from work because they don't have the time otherwise. When you continue to respond to your residents using their voices with suppression through your rules and through your blatant disregard for constituents who reach out to you, the only other ways you can reach you through email or phone, it shows you do not stand for democracy in Des Moines. Some of you say you can't respond to every email, every call. Why then do you not have institutions in place to reach out to your constituents? Regular town halls, surveys, information for items being considered on the upcoming agenda. You are 7 people who represent over 200,000 residents in the city. Your special interests are not our priorities. Your votes belong to us. Listen.
I didn't do anything. She must cut out.
Okay. Ray, Aaron, regarding black state of emergency.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
On Tuesday, October 13th, a black state of emergency was declared in Iowa. As a citizen of Des Moines, I'm outraged that part of our community continues to go unheard as they declare their safety and human rights at risk. The fact that they are taking steps to protect themselves from hate crimes is a disgrace. We are outraged. October 10th, our minority community organized a safe space for all people to be heard. As a lifelong resident of the city, I'm asking you to wake up and realize what these coalitions are begging for. Our protests are action of love and represent people of this community who often go without their position being heard. They should be honored and replicated, not criminalized and persecuted. I'm asking the council to work with these coalitions and directly implement their recommendations that will make our community safe for all. I also would encourage the city council to learn critical race theory and how your actions and decisions impact people of color. Racial inequalities often are categorized as a natural process rather than a byproduct of systemic racism. Council, you are the system. You are the ones impacting change. You are the ones who can make this community safe for all people. Taking funds away from DMPD and funding nonviolent community-based organizations that are trained in de-escalation and mental health is the solution we've been telling you for months. Black members of this community should not have to declare a state of emergency. If you'd been listening, they wouldn't have to. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I yield my time.
Pete Myers regarding protesting permits. Pete? There he is.
See him anywhere? There he is.
Pete? Pete, can you unmute yourself?
What up, guys? I know Mr. Mandelbaum intended to speak on the issue of protest permits, but declined to do so early today. So I kind of wanted to touch on how ridiculous the actual process of applying for a protest permit is. Now, the city policy in Des Moines requires well over $500 in non-refundable deposits and 90 days notice to stage what you term a legal permitted protest. Now, these notice requirements greater than 3 days are not constitutional. The First Amendment prohibits such an advance notice requirement from being used to prevent rallies and demonstrations that would be rapid responses to unforeseeable and recent news events. And that means even permit ordinances must allow for spontaneous demonstrations. So the restrictions violate the First Amendment in that they are unnecessary for any type of traffic control, and they significantly interfere with effective communication with our intended audience. And another big thing there is a permit cannot be denied because the event is controversial or will express unpopular views. So what in effect you're doing is requiring us to request permission from the police in order to protest the police, which is one of the least free or democratic concepts I can imagine. So I'd encourage Mr. Mandelbaum to speak up on behalf of constitutionally protected activity in our city. Thank you.
Harley, Baldridge regarding the procedural rules of the Des Moines City Council.
Yeah, hi, Harley Baldridge, she, they. I wanted to speak about one of the founding tenets of this nation, which is the idea of taxation without representation. It's one of the things that other speakers have spoken about tonight, including the ways that the City Council has used their power to silence especially Black and Brown communities over the last year of talking about racial profiling, police brutality, and police spending in our communities. I bring this up because, as we've seen tonight, that City Council didn't even actually vote on whether or not to pull 23I and 33, both two amendments in the consent items earlier. We actually only voted to pass or fail all of the consent items. And so I just actually have a lot of questions about the current policies, procedures, and rulings of the City Council, which, according to you, has been working on an actual equity lens for the past 2 years, and yet is using its power to actively silence members of our community who speak out against the same racism and prejudice that we're seeing in our communities. Yield my time.
Matthew Heron regarding the use of the city funds for police and justice reform. Matthew?
Hello and thank you. I have found that earlier this year, the City Council, okayed an item to use millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, excuse me, for ammunitions for the police. Most recently, you've also accepted, or you would like to accept, a federal grant for millions of dollars for Homeland Security. Okay, well, I think in both of these issues, with our current social climate, you have the responsibility to use these funds for something that would be more productive for the people of Des Moines, not to give cops more bullets when cops are shooting people, when police brutality is under exam. I mean, as well as accepting money for Homeland Security, when in fact we've got our own social issues that we need to address. If you would take that money and actually do the right thing with it, then we would have a much better city. Thank you. I yield my time.
Jalen Cattle regarding transparency issues and holding the Des Moines Police Department accountable. Jalen?
Jalen, please raise your hand. Thank you.
Hi, Jalen, he, him. Kay, I know you've misgendered some folks on here, so please remember the pronouns he, him. Yeah, so I just wanted to read something real quick. It says the Des Moines Police Department's public information officer has been fined and ordered to pay the legal costs for denying the public access to body cam video from officers involved in a controversial 2018 arrest. This was the news that we saw earlier this past week, seeing the disturbing video of Des Moines Police Department officers beating up a young Black man who was minding his own business at the farmer's market. This video was withheld, and Paul Parizek violated the law by withholding this video. You all have a major issue right now because Paul Parizek is viewed as a joke by the public and the media. He is not respected, and people do not view him as a reputable source. He has been accused credibly by his own son for committing child abuse. He has lied knowingly many times to the press. You all have the responsibility of holding the Des Moines Police Department accountable. That means that you need to tell Dana Wingard to fire Paul Parizek, remove him from that seat. You all need to have Scott Sanders fire Dana Wingard. Then the council must remove Scott Sanders as city manager. These things must happen because we've seen throughout this summer that there has been no action from the Des Moines City Council in response to the Des Moines Police Department's abuse and violence that they've committed to citizens of Des Moines. This is not okay. You all say time and time again that you're committed to some kind of racial justice, committed to equality, but you do not back up these words.
Mayor, I'll move to receive and file A through V.
All right, and we want to thank our citizens for taking the time to exercise not only their First Amendment rights, but tell us how they are feeling. A lot of them have been on before, and we appreciate their persistence and staying in there. It's been moved. Poll the council, please.
County,
Yes.
Boson,
Yes.
Voss,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Westergaard,
Yes.
Mandelbaum,
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's 7 yes, motion carries.
All right. I want to thank members of the public. I want to thank the city council and Des Moines staff. Again, this is at 7:33. We've come to the end of our agenda. And if we could have a motion to adjourn,
I'll move adjournment.
all in favor, say aye.
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 Dissension, hearing none. This